Hello everyone, I am CS Aboli Putre and I welcome you all to the second part of our lecture series on company law. If you are a law student or preparing for the course of CA or CS or CMA or just someone interested in understanding the company law, this lecture will be really helpful for you. Today, we are going to discuss the doctrine of lifting and piercing of corporate veil. It's a really interesting concept and we will study it through multiple case laws. So, let's start. In our previous lecture, we discussed the characteristics of company. One of the most important characteristics was its separate legal existence independent of its members and directors. We also discussed the case of Salmon versus Salmon and Company Limited. While we understood that company is a legal person, it is important to remember that at the end of the day, it's merely a creation of law. It is a fictitious person. Therefore, the question that arises is if it can act on its own without the help of any individual, the answer to it will be a big no. To understand it, let us take the example of puppet. We all have enjoyed the puppet show at some point in our lives. In the puppet show, though we see dancing puppets, we are aware that it's the string master who is pulling the strings and making the puppet dance. The puppet is nothing without the string master. The similar analogy can be used for the company. Company cannot act on its own. It has to act through individuals. So, here the company can be compared with the puppet and the members, the people who vote in company's decisions and the directors who run the management of the company can be compared with string master. The only thing that separates the directors and members of the company from company is the wheel of separate legal existence in which the company is clad. To avoid the misuse of this wheel, the doctrine of lifting and piercing of corporate wheel is introduced. The word doctrine means legal concept. This wheel of incorporated legality is lifted to examine the realities that lay behind. In the case of State of Karnataka versus Selvi J. Jayalalitha, Honorable Supreme Court held the wheel of separate legal entity of company exists. However, it is subject to the fact that it is not being used as a sham or cloak to misdirect the authorities. Now let us understand various instances. Then, corporate wheel of company generally gets lifted by the courts. The first instance is when the case is such that the court has to determine the real character of the company. When the court has to find out the real person who is controlling the action of company, it lifts the corporate wheel and sees behind it. Let's see a case law related to it for clearer understanding. The name of the company is Daimler Company Limited versus Continental Tire and Rubber Company Limited. It is an English case law. In this case, Continental Tire and Rubber Company Limited was a tire manufacturing company. It used to supply the tires to Daimler Company Limited. However, at some point in their trade, Daimler Company refused to make payment to Continental Tires. This was the period of First World War. Continental Tires filed action to claim the money due to them against Daimler Company Limited. When the case went to the court observed that though Continental Tires is a company incorporated in England, when they lifted the corporate wheel, they found that all the directors and all the shareholders of the company, except one, were residents of Germany. As I mentioned earlier, it was a period of First World War, and England and Germany were actually fighting against each other in the war. Now, the question was, if the claim of Continental Tires was made allowed, would it amount to payment being made to enemy country? Because as per the doctrine of separate legal entity, the company and its members are ideally different from each other. While deciding the case, the House of Lords held, though the company Continental Tire and Rubber Company Limited is a company registered in UK and has all the characteristics of legal person, it cannot act on its own. The company on its own cannot be loyal or disloyal. Hence, it cannot be a friend or enemy. However, in this case, it is important to find out who are the real de facto controllers of the company. Here, almost all the controllers were resident of Germany, which was an enemy country. The court lifted the corporate wheel of Continental Tires and held that if their action to claim money is been allowed, it would be a method of paying money to enemy country and hence it was not allowed. This is how the court lifted and pierced through the corporate personality of company to determine its real character. The second instance, when courts most commonly lift the corporate wheel, is to avoid tax evasion. It is a common practice to incorporate new companies just to redirect the income in order to avoid the payment of taxes. In such cases, the court lifts the corporate wheel of such companies. Let's understand it with the help of a case law. The case is related to a well-known industrialist of India, Mr. Dinshaw Manekji. Mr. Dinshaw Manekji had made huge investments in his own name and thus he was in receipt of big amounts of interest and dividend. The amount of tax that was being charged on that income was also a significant amount. Considering this, Mr. Dinshaw Manekji incorporated 4 private companies and transferred the investments which were held in his name to these 4 companies. Therefore, instead of him receiving the interest and dividend, this company started collecting the same. After collecting this income, these companies used to hand that money back to Mr. Dinshaw Manekji as pretended loan. This way, Mr. Dinshaw Manekji used to avoid payment of tax. Naturally, when income tax authorities got to know about it, they challenged this in court. While deciding this case, Honorable Supreme Court made an important observation. Honorable Court observed that these 4 companies were incorporated purely with the purpose of avoiding tax. They were conducting no other business or activity. The only asset they held were these investments transferred to them by Mr. Dinshaw Manekji. Therefore, the court lifted the corporate wheel of these 4 companies and refused to accept them as separate entities from Mr. Dinshaw Manekji while ordering him to pay the tax with penalty. In this case, High Court clearly observed that court has the power to disregard corporate entity if it is being used for tax evasion or to circumvent tax obligations. Let us move to next incidence. The next instance when courts generally lift the corporate wheel is the cases where the companies are incorporated merely to act as a shield or medium to commit some fraud or illegal activity. By showing the action in the name of company incorporated, these individuals try to do such acts indirectly which they cannot do directly. Let us see an interesting case law of the same. Name of the case is Guilford Motors Company Limited versus Horn. In this case, Mr. Horn was appointed as managing director of Guilford Motors Company Limited. When he was appointed, he entered into a contract with company. One of the clauses of that contract was, as long as Mr. Horn is acting as managing director of the company, and even after that for some period of time, he will not entice away or solicit, that is, obtain any of the customers of the company. It is a very standard clause that you can find in any employment contract. Subsequently, Mr. Horn incorporated a new company. That company was in business similar to what Guilford Motors was doing. And this company started to solicit the customers of Guilford Motors. So Mr. Horn was doing this through his company indirectly, which he otherwise could not do directly due to the clause in the contract. Guilford Motors challenged this act of Mr. Horn in the court. In this case, the court held that the new company, which was incorporated by Mr. Horn, was merely a cloak to enable Mr. Horn to commit the breach of clause against solicitation. The company formed by Mr. Horn was a mere channel used by him to enable him to solicit the customers of Guilford Motors Company, which he could not do directly due to the clause in the contract he signed. Therefore, court lifted the corporate veil of this newly incorporated company and restrained the acts of Mr. Horn as well as company formed by him. The next important incidence when the courts have lifted the corporate veil is when the companies are being used with sole purpose of avoiding compliance of welfare legislations. Now, welfare legislation are the laws focusing on welfare and upliftment of society, especially the vulnerable sector of the society. It mainly includes laws aiming at child welfare, women welfare, welfare of disabled people, labor laws, etc. On the screen, you can see the names of some of such legislations. Now, let's see a case law which will make it further clear. The name of the case is Workmen versus Associated Rubber Industries Limited. In this case, Associated Rubber Industry Limited, for the sake of brevity, I shall further refer to it as Rubber Company, was a company which had made investment in shares of another company called Inarco Limited. And they used to get dividend for the same investment made, and this dividend used to form part of the yearly profit of that rubber company. Eventually, Rubber Company incorporated a wholly owned subsidiary of it and named it as Aryl Holdings Limited. This wholly owned subsidiary means a company whose 100% share capital is held by its holding company, that is, in this case, the Rubber Company. Thus, this Rubber Company had complete control over its wholly owned subsidiary. After forming this subsidiary, the Rubber Company transferred all its investment in the shares of Inarco Limited to this new subsidiary, Aryl Holdings, and as a result of that, the dividend which the Rubber Company was getting was now getting paid to the subsidiary, and this resulted in reduction in the total profit of Rubber Company. Before I explain further facts, let me tell you that Rubber Company was covered under welfare legislation, the name of which was Payment of Bonus Act. Under this act, the company has to pay certain part of its profits to its workmen as their bonus. Higher the profit, higher will be the payment of bonus. Due to decline in profit of Rubber Company, the percentage of bonus which was paid to workmen also declined from 16% to directly 4%. Workmen went to the court and challenged this action of transfer of investment which caused reduction of profit. They contended that this wholly owned subsidiary was formed only to hold the investment transferred to it by its holding company, that is Rubber Company. This arrangement was made just to reduce the liability payment of bonus to workmen. The Honorable Supreme Court agreed with this contention of workmen and held that it is very clear that this Aryl Holdings Limited was incorporated just to avoid the compliance with Payment of Bonus Act. It lifted the corporate will of this subsidiary and refused to consider it as individual entity independent of its holding company. The court held that it is a duty of court in case where ingenuity is expanded to avoid taxing and welfare legislation to get behind the smoke screen and discover the true state of affairs. Now let's discuss the last incident when courts usually lift the corporate veil. It is when the company acts as nominee or agent of someone. In this case, the court refuses to keep its corporate name. The perfect case would be the case of FG Films Limited. It was an American film production company and it incorporated a company in UK and produced a film named Monsoon under this English company. This English company had share capital of only £100, 100 shares of £1 each, out of which 90% were held by the American director, and all the directors of this English company were American. Even the production cost of this movie was financed by the American company. And then the Board of Trade of UK considered all these facts and refused to get the film Monsoon registered as British film. This was challenged by this British company in the court of law. However, the court upheld the decision of Board of Trade and observed that this British company was acting merely as an agent or nominee of American company. It is completely impossible to believe that this British company with such an insignificant capital has undertaken to make arrangements for production of a big film. Here, court lifted the veil of British company in order to determine the real purpose of its incorporation. I hope the doctrine of lifting and piercing of corporate veil is clear to you all. If you have found this video helpful, then please like the video. Also, if you have any doubts regarding this topic, then feel free to ask them in the comment section below. Also, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel to show your support. See you all in next video. Till then, goodbye.